It's Wednesday, April 17th, 2024 at 11:30. And we're here to talk about the roles and responsibilities of commissioners and board chair. Do we have anything additional to add?
No, we don't. That particular item, you've got the marked up red line copy that you've gone through already that deals with the commissioner discussion. You've got the sheet that Brianna put together for all the different committees you assigned.
I can't find my
That-
red line one for whatever reason. But I have my committee, so I'm good.
Okay, and then you have the chair roles, responsibilities there as well to talk about.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think with the things we're kind of working on, some of the other things we're working on, I'm happy to do the boards and commissioners or boards and commissions. But I think we should wait a little bit on the actual roles of the commissioners.
Well, I think most of it's already been outlined and most of them we've already agreed to, and I think it's just a matter of hammering it out, getting it done.
Yeah.
Because it's all already been hammered out and it's all been agreed to. Even at the last scoping thing, a few items that were left out there, were taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree because I think there's a lot of things that the more we go through this process, the more I go through this process, the more information, and the way I see things working, that there's more and more concern about the decisions we made at the meeting when we changed the governments, that we make sure that we're not giving those roles away. The ability to hire and fire people, the ability to have a legal team that reports to the county commissioners, not to the county manager, the ability to interact with employees and have those employees be able to interact with us. I think those things are extremely important. And I think if we don't make that clear and come up with a plan, then I think we're doing a disservice to the citizens of Crook County. And all you need to do is talk to people, commissioners from Deschutes County, about what they see and how they interact with their employees and their lack of ability to move things forward. And I think it's devastating. So if we want to have that conversation now, that's fine. But I think, we've had some discussions about some things that will probably be changing here pretty soon. And I think after that, I think would be a better time to have that, but I'm happy to have the conversation today also.
I mean, we had that red line document, which I wish I could have found in my office. I don't know. I mean, if you want to add to that, we've had that document for how long?
Months.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd like to just move us forward because you do have an election in 30 days?
Sure.
So shouldn't we do that? I mean, if you want to study that red line thing, like I say.
No, I mean, I'm
I'm just
very comfortable with what I think we should have, what we should have on there. As long as those things are changed, then I'm happy to move
I
forward.
think we need to just add this up. Is there any way you can shoot you have the document? The red line one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I put it in a safe place in my office. I haven't determined the safe place.
You don't have two of them, do you?
No.
We can share.
Okay.
Would you have her bring one down? Because my computer battery's dead.
3 of them, I guess.
Or mine isn't, so why don't I just go ahead? Can I bring it up? I don't know where my safe place was that I put this. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Really?
This is all in your packet, so I'm just looking at it online through.
Can I
Is
get
it
it?
on the packet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't even have to
Packet.
worry. I was worried I had to bring it. Okay,
So,
I'm good.
I think more importantly about all of it is the day that we approve the firm that's going to go out and look for a county manager.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't come up with what that job description is going to be from us and for him, how are we ever going to be successful in finding someone? Because the caliber of person that we're going to look for, he's going to look at us just like we're looking at him. And if he doesn't see some stability in this government where we can all get along and work cohesively together, then we're not going to fill that position.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And this is the step to move forward to get that done. And we have 17 months, we have worked on this.
Sure.
And the
Yeah.
other guy that was worked on and approved of it isn't here any longer. And now Susie is here. And I'm not going to speak for Susie, but I think that she's been pretty diligent in looking at the information and doing her thing. And you know, at the last meeting that we had at OSU, I mean, those were the last things that were brought up, was who was going to be in charge of communications. And
Mhm.
that one was resolved. And so I don't know what more that we need to do. Just
I-
procrastinate.
Yeah, again, no, there's two
Would
of
you
you.
shoot it to me? I'm not.
There's two of you, Brian, and you can do again what you did last time, is move a agenda forward to take away the power of the voters of Crook County. But I
Is it
don't think
you?
that's what people in Crook County want. I think they want the ability to have elected
Got it,
officials
right here. Got it.
be part of the hiring and firing process. I think they want elected officials to have engagement with our employees. I think they want the elected officials to have legal representation and not the county manager. And I think that it's not unreasonable to have the office employees report to the county commissioners. And I know that you want to have one employee and have a total hands-off management of the
No,
county.
you don't, and you can't really speak for me, Seth.
Well, I mean,
This isn't a
you-
political stump that we're on here. We're trying to resolve issues that we have. And that manager doesn't have the sole discretion to fire whoever he wants. We have supervision over that person. We have supervision over everything that person does. And how do we,
Look what-
I hear from people that want to move forward with this. You have people that don't want to. I think that the public is still represented 100%. And I even think they're represented better because we have a qualified person in here that's going to run the financial departments. That's going to be responsible, that has the knowledge and the expertise to run a $55 million business.
Yeah, again.
Whereas we don't.
Yeah, again, I think we were in complete agreement on there needing to be additional administrative help. I just think it's how much control over the county government they have. And that's, I think we've seen with our current situation where that has gone awry and it's taken a really long time to try and fix that. It's still not fixed. I think we're headed in the right direction. But even with that, with us here, we're still seeing a very difficult ability to manage that system. And it's taken a really long time to get where we can potentially fix that. And that's what I'm concerned about. And again, we can get into the specifics of employees being told not to talk to the commission and those kind of things. And the best way to protect ourselves with that is to make it clear to whoever comes into this new position that is something that we want to be part of, and that is extremely important that we're doing that. Again, things I've seen happen that were not things that I knew were happening, and it was very detrimental to specific department heads that have brought it up in public meetings about issues that they've had with the management that have said, this is not okay. And I know it was surprising to me. I know that Susie was surprised, and maybe you knew about it all along and you were part of it. I don't know what you know, Brian. You're right. But I'm telling you that I've heard things that if we had a manager that was more engaged with the county court and we were more engaged with the employees, then I believe that the community would be better served.
I'm going to say one thing. First of all, I agree with Brian. We have got to do the county manager. We can't be hiring a recruiting team, paying money and
Sure.
not have a thing. Number two, when I came in, you guys weren't going to department head meetings. I went into the first department head meeting. I think it was the second day I was on the job. I went to two of them. I said, you guys should go. And now we all three rotate and we go. Those are nuances that needed to be done. I have no problem with employee contact. I just walk over and say, hey, how are things going? And that's what, yes, I think we should do. But what concerns me a lot is these committees and this, and since I've been on, like I say, Health Council and this road thing, there is so much money out there. We are not doing the citizens of Crook County a justice by not bringing it in. And my example again would be the food. They're going to pass out all this money for food. I need to be there and I need to grab a hold of it. So we need to just get through here. I don't personally see a problem with employees because I go out and I check on them and no one has ever told me I can't. The department head thing, I think we've got it in a really good spot. I think we rotate. I think that's super good, but I really think we need to get on board, get our descriptions. We're out on a recruiting thing and get these committees honed in and start doing what we can use our power to do. And that was one thing that Andy said to me, I think maybe the third day I was here, I don't remember, was what do you want to use your power for? And so I think people come to us and I think we have an open door policy. I certainly do. And we need to look at that power and we need to hone it. And we need to be attentive to these boards and we need to get our rules so that we can get somebody in there and just do our job and quit fighting.
Yeah, no, I'm, from what
So-
you just described, I'm totally on board. So you would be okay with us having an ongoing interaction with county
I don't,
employees?
I don't want to be liaison like you get the
No,
road or you
nobody's-
get this.
Nobody's talking about
But
liaison.
yes, you walk in and you say to John Solis back there, I'll just pick on John and say, hey, how's the assessor's office doing? And you sit down or you just write him, shoot him an email or shoot Will an email and, or go over to the sheriff's and bring them donuts. They'll tell you anything for a few donuts. But there you go.
So you're,
Sorry, John, you didn't get
so
any.
you're
donuts.
okay with us having an ongoing interaction with all employees,
Why-
not just the county manager?
Who said we can't?
Andy.
Well,
And again,
That's not true, Seth.
It's true, Andy. You told it, you.
it has not been true of my time here. I
The
will
one
say,
statement I've said, Seth, is you can't be providing direction, otherwise you're gonna have chaos.
Yeah.
There's one point of direction. You know, you guys are all welcome to talk with any employee anytime and just not to provide direction and as a courtesy, make it known to me that you're having those conversations so that I at least know you're out visiting with folks. And that's for any manager, not me, just any manager's wanting that.
I agree with that. It's like I went to OSU on Thursday and there was Nicole and Tim and Kim and we sat there and I asked Nicole, like she did today, to come here because I told her I'm only one person. I have an idea in my head, but I want you two to hear it. She came, you two listened.
Sure.
That's the way it should work. It's just like if I go over to John and he says, I want donuts every Friday. I can't tell him that. I've got to come back and we need to talk together. We can't just go solve problems. We need to be a team. We need to work as a team and we need this county to see us as a cohesive team. And part of this is we need to get our act together, get this out there so that people, applicants can look at it and know what we stand for. And no, I don't, of course we can see the people. But again, we really need to get this taken care of so that we can go out and use our power to lobby money to benefit our
Totally
county.
agree. But so you're comfortable with us having meetings with department heads to solve problems? And then once we have a plan, we can then
Go back,
bring that back to the
Go
board.
back and talk to everybody about
That's,
it.
that's
Yes,
exactly what I'm
yes,
talking about.
yes. Well, then I don't think we have any problem.
But that is some type of direction to ask them to have that meeting with you to do that. And that's my point. is
So you
that
shoot an email and say, hey, can I see you? And just like today, Eric, can I come talk to you? He said after 1:30.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
What's
that's,
wrong
so
with
that's
that?
all I'm saying. So let's add that to the, because the job description that we currently have does not, that is not part of that job description.
So commissioners, for the sake of the clarity of the minutes, I think it's helpful to get clarification on what's been discussed. As I understand it, Seth wants the authority to give staff members directions. And
You can't. It has to be the three of us.
so that I think is the point that I
Yes.
think needs to be clarified among you three, is whether that is a good idea and you want it included in this document, or whether you don't want it included in this document.
I don't want it included in the document because that's not the way it should be.
It has to be a team effort, and we can go listen, because people adapt to certain people better and listen, but then it needs to be brought either in executive session if it's private, or out to the county in a regular court or work session if it's public.
So when you say, what was your term, Eric? Direction. So what does direction mean? Does that mean that we,
This is a conversation that.
well,
you
I know,
need
but
to
I'm
have.
saying, but you're the one who identified the word direction, right? And so
No, he just clarified what the question was, because you pretty kind of had a spin on it to where you wanted something to put in there to where you have the power to go and talk to everybody and make decisions.
we all do. And
Yeah, but you wanted it individually, so each one of us individually could go and work with all the different departments and be over the top of any county manager.
no,
And-
not
Well,
at all.
that's kind of what you said.
not at all. I'm saying that direction is to have a meeting and come up with a solution that you can bring to the rest of the court.
And we're saying that there isn't any reason why we can't visit with those,
Yeah.
with anybody. But it's just not, we're not gonna go in and visit and say, hey, do you wanna do this? Let's do this.
No, that's never how it's been.
In
I mean, when have we made unilateral decisions and not worked as a group?
quite frequently, you've gone in and circumvented and certainly
Circumvented?
circumvented any administrator's position, and that's what I'm trying to avoid from doing. I think that that's what the administrator's
No,
duty is, and our duty is to be over the administrator and be able to visit with them, but not to go in and put ourselves in that administrative position.
but that's what I'm
But
saying.
that's what and that's where
No,
you're
I'm
going.
saying,
And kind of, we've added, and I really like it, we have added that Andy comes in on Tuesday and he sees you at 9, he sees me at 10, he sees you at 11. I've told you that I did this, or I did that, or I met this, and that's what you should be doing, and that's what Brian should be doing, because he kind of needs to know the directions we're going. And so, for an example, I talked to him about the fairgrounds, and Andy went, and he's a data guy, and he got me all the data so that I could present a solid case. I don't have any results, or I don't have whatever, or I bring it to you, but I mean, we need that county manager. Elected officials are not always competent to handle some of the decisions that maybe they need to make. We need to make them as a team. As far as hiring and firing, we got 11 applications for facilities director.
Mhm.
I read all 11. I told Amy and Christina I didn't like any of them.
Mhm.
I think I got them. I read them. I wrote back.
yeah, but I think there's
So,
things that you miss
We
out.
appoint it.
I think there's things you miss out when you aren't part of the interview process. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be,
Well, then
which
just
we had a
send 'em an
conversation
email.
about.
Say, I want to be part of the interview process.
They have, and then it was changed. We
Well-
actually decided here as a group saying that we should be part of the interview process. And then it was changed to be that we were not going to be. And they were gonna do an interview process, and then we were going to clarify it at the end. And again, I think that we as representatives of the people know better than anyone what that custom and culture of our community is, and what those people and how they'll fit in our community.
Did you read those 11 applications?
I did.
Did you give them any feedback on it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, then my next suggestion would be on the feedback, say, I would like to sit in on the interviews and sit there and let them
Perfect.
conduct. I don't think
Perfect. As long
anybody
as-
said you can't.
Right.
In our
So
current
you
situation,
participated in
We've
it.
been asked on everyone whether we wanted to be participating.
Yeah,
so
And it's not necessarily participate on the first round, second round.
no,
It's being able to participate and have a conversation with that person
see,
and weigh into whether we
No,
agree
see,
with
yeah.
the board that has done, and
that's
the
where
board
you're
that is doing it
twisting
has always been people that are department heads. There are the folks that are going to work with these people, and they are also representative of the people of the county. It's the first line, and then we
Sure,
can have
sure.
the
I
second
want
line
them
to
to
make
be
sure
part of
that
it as
that's
well.
what you, yeah,
But,
but you
but
then.
there's no reason not to be, for us as elected officials to be part of that process. And if you're saying that we can, if we want to,
I
then
don't
that-
see where it says we can't. It's just like, you guys didn't go to department head. I did. Then I wanted you guys to go and we adapted.
again, I
it.
was told not to,
I don't
but
see,
that's,
I don't see any of that written in this document at all.
Yeah, if
so,
I- if I
so then
could-
let's just clarify that on request.
Well, excuse me,
Uh,
on the hiring process, we had a situation recently that was not healthy for the organization as related to some words that were said. I'm not going to get into names.
Okay,
So the last process or the process we're going through presently with the facilities director, the HR folks, not me, HR folks said, ask them with, what do you think is the appropriate approach to get to an appointment? They went around and talked to each of you about that. And there was, in that process, alignment, and that's the process that's ultimately being used. So with each director, where you're involved with the hiring of a director, either be that process. And again, I think you shouldn't take this as a hard and fast. I mean, this is a new form of government that you're dealing with. You know, while I'm here, you're implementing, you're doing things, one way on this particular situation, another way. You're exploring and so forth to see what may work best and develop your culture. You're changing from an organization that had 3 different people running different operations, some very involved with some things, not all that involved with others, to where you now have a manager that's trying to corral everybody up to the direction that you're providing, with those goals and the work plans that are all adopted, and trying to keep us all moving in the same direction and try not having too many flares where we're off running this way or running that way. We're all kind of moving forward. And the result of that is the organization's moved forward far more than it would have ever done without the change that you've made over the last 22 months. There's been a significant amount of progress, significant number of accomplishments, and none of that, I won't say none, very little of that would have probably happened without that change. So you're on the premises of being able to go hire a county manager with a lot of the things already in place, policies and procedures and these job descriptions, roles, responsibilities, a job description for a manager, updated salary study, updated, job descriptions and a plan for those, a roadmap in IT, a roadmap in HR, a strategic plan in a number of different departments. You're set up to be able to go forward where the change that you do becomes more incremental. You have a new manager, you can try different things and see what works best. And this is really a guideline of where you're at right now to help you guys understand what your roles, responsibilities are so that the staff knows too what your roles, responsibilities are. And they can always be tweaked. I mean, there's nothing in here that this is a constitution that requires an amendment of multiple states. I mean, this is something, 2 votes can change it if something isn't working. But you need to get something done. And this has been on your plate for a while now.
if you read the summary of roles and responsibilities and you go down here, our area of responsibility encompass legislative, budget, finance, governance, zoning, land use, oversight of other governing boards, personnel matters, right there. Infrastructure, public works, intergovernmental, and community engagement. It says it all right there, and then it comes out with the different, different like who we appoint and all of that. So it's kind of there.
That's, well, then, but then that you say that, but then Andy brings up an issue that I believe he
But-
caused by,
But he's
No,
not
but
gonna be
this is
there
not gonna
forever.
need to get personal.
but I mean, he brought it up. I mean, that was him bringing up and saying, well, that's why we can't have commissioners involved, but I feel like it was handled poorly on his side and there was very poor communication. And that's why we got to the situation we did, where I don't see why we wouldn't have elected officials be part of, I mean, there's other elected officials in the county that are part of these boards that are hiring these people.
And I think you're beating a dead horse, to be honest. I mean, we've gone over this. You have the ability to be involved. It's a process on each one of the appointments as it relates to the director level. Staff are gonna be, all the department heads have their responsibility to hire and fire their staff.
Sure, I'm not trying to micromanage down into but I'm saying.
Right.
that we-
It sounds like you're trying to, you micromanage the manager.
Take him out of take Andy out of the
Sure.
picture. We have a new county manager and we're going to hire a new planning director.
Yes,
And I would say to that county manager at my weekly meeting, I was on planning commission for 8 years. Land use is my passion. I want to be involved. I want to go to every interview. I want to see whatever. Then we do it. Because basically we're the boss.
I agree, but I just brought that up. and
But
then-
it's
and
right
then
there. I mean,
I know, I just brought that up.
Personnel matters.
I just brought that up and then I was told, well, you can be at the very end of the process once we get through all this other
I think
stuff.
that's a matter of just us saying.
Okay.
Just saying, I really think
I
if
just think
you
we want to
read
be
this,
clear.
I
that-
think if you read this, and I agree, this is not written in stone by Moses on the mountain. I think we are very, very close and I think we need this. We just hired a firm. We're gonna start paying them money tomorrow or whenever. We need to get this down so that people will know. And again, like I say, if I'm super engaged, there could be somebody you really want to know. We meet with that manager once a week. We tell them this is what we want to do. And no, we don't micromanage. I like to listen to our department heads. They're the people that work with those people every day.
Totally,
you
agree. I
know,
want them to be. part
And
of this.
so like, let's say we are going to hire a new assistant for Will. I'll walk over there and say, hey, Will, what are your thoughts? And I'm hoping that we have a relationship that Will would answer me back. I think we have that and I think it's here. And I think we need to get professional. We've engaged a recruiting firm and we need to move on. And when you meet once a week with that manager, you put in place what your personality needs
Yeah.
or wants or
again,
desire. I don't know what your passion is what you put in there and again, we're going to hire this person and we're going to make them what we want.
Yeah, no,
And you need to
And-
take Andy out of the thing.
yeah.
because
The only
you're
reason
gonna
I'm
be
bringing up
part of
Andy
it.
is because he's at
But
this
he's not
point.
gonna be there anymore.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this new person,
Sure.
Seth. We need to get this on the board and get a new county manager. Andy's moving on. We're gonna make him what we want him to be. We're all gonna meet individually with them. We're gonna tell him our passion and you're gonna tell him, I want to be in here and I want to do hiring and firing and I want to do this. If he goes against you, then that's a discussion the three of us have to have.
Yeah, just a clarification on that. If-
Okay, did I screw up here?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, just one. The manager's working for all three of you,
Yes, yes.
not individually.
No, but you can say your passions of like, I want to be more involved in this hiring of this department.
Right.
I don't feel that's.
Yeah,
wrong.
and I just want to make sure that, as you go through that, it's If the other two are saying, no, that's maybe not a good idea.
Then that's a discussion for the three
Right.
of us as a
Yeah.
team.
And that's where we were with the last recruitment as it relates to the facilities director in terms of how we're going through that is there was consensus on that's the direction to go. If there would have been something different than that, glad to do that. But
So I think that's a really good point, Andy, because I think that's why we want to put it in there that that is a part of the discussion.
Where do
That's
you,
part,
where do you want to come up with the language and we'll decide if we're going to add it and let's move on.
I would just say that commissioners have the ability to be part of the hiring, firing.
It's right here, personnel matters.
But that's so vague. And so we just saw it happen where two commissioners said, we don't want to be involved in this. So the third commissioner wasn't allowed to be involved in it. And I think if the two commissioners do not want to be involved in it, that's totally fine. But you should have the ability as an elected official to be part of a hiring and firing if that's your passion.
Okay, well, let's add it and let's
Okay.
move on.
Perfect. Let's add
So
it.
where do we want it? Where can we add that? Or how are you with that?
and into what level do you want that to be?
Let's just do it
Throughout-
and move on.
Throughout the interview process.
Yeah, but you want that for the department head, you
Department-
want it,
Department.
you want,
heads. Yep.
Okay, so we
Department
have,
heads and the county administrative staff.
so then put there where you have ratify appointment and termination of department heads. Put another line in there,
Right. that,
whatever, and then it's
participate
there.
As desired. or
Yeah, that would be
as
perfect,
desired,
as
perfect.
desired, and yes, and there you go, and then we,
had Interviews.
yeah, because we're just arguing over one line. I mean, yeah. Again, I agree with Brian, if we don't get this out, we're not gonna
I'm
get any.
totally fine to get it out, but
Okay.
it's almost like Nancy Pelosi, let's pass it and then read it.
Well, no.
We
I'm
need to
not-
get through, we need to,
Please,
we
don't
need to,
use Nancy
we need to make
Pelosi.
sure we know what we're signing here and we agree with the decisions we're making and that.
Are you good with everything with the addition under personnel? What Andy just, what did your, tell me what you just said, Andy, again.
I think, suggestion would be participate in the hiring process of department heads as requested,
As desired, I think you said.
right, as desired.
As desired.
Participate in the hiring, 7. Would it be of just department heads or do you want to put staff?
I would say department heads and administrative staff.
You know,
Again, I don't-
administrative staff go throughout the whole organization.
County, how would you speak to the people in our office?
I would speak to the folks in your office.
County commissioner, administrative staff?
There we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah. you
I'm
can
f- I'm
get
f- I'm
pretty
fi-
specific with
That's,
them.
that's fine.
Okay,
Again, I don't need to be telling Will who he needs to hire as a permit tech. I agree with you that it's
No.
important to be able to go in there and have a conversation with him and
there's
say,
no reason you can't.
you know, and yeah, don't totally fine. But I think when it comes to department heads and the people that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis,
And
I
if
think
you-
it's important that we have more involvement and more ability to more,
Totally agree. Right here, establish personnel policies. That's,
yeah, I think it's already in there, but
Yeah.
add that. little-
add that line and then let's
line.
move on and let's get that done. And then it's out there and it makes us not spend money for naught.
and then the other one is, I think we need to have the legal team report to the county commissioners. I think if you look at counties versus cities, they are consistently have the county legal report to the commissioners, not to the administrative office.
Yeah.
And I'm not disagreeing
I don't
on
know
it. What
where
I'm
you
just saying,
would
that's
put
not
it.
part of what we're talking about.
Well, but I think it does because with this
Can you
job,
finish his conversation, please?
We're talking about the roles and responsibilities of the county commission
Mhm.
and board chair, not the org structure of the organization, including the job description that you approved back on March 8th, that included that, effectively includes that org structure. But you can, and again, as we've talked, this current structure that you have is the structure that you three approved and put in place 17, 18, 12 months ago,
Sure.
back in April 19th. If you want to change that, and that's something, Eric and I've talked about, talk with, Landau about that. Again, to your point, yeah, typically in a county structure, you more often see county council reporting to the Board of Commissioners. In a city environment, it's 90+% they're reporting to the city manager. And either way works.
But we need to get that document and put it there.
Right,
So We're
that's
talking
not,
about this document, keep that thought, and let's put on an agenda that we bring that other document up and add that.
I think we could probably revise that document right now with that change.
Okay,
yeah, if you
that's
guys want.
fine with me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the three of you Jerry you passed it, you were okay with it. And we asked for a motion for a revision and we put in there that legal reports to the county commissioners.
Because I think, again, that's part of what we're
Sure.
saying our roles are. And if
Sure.
we're talking about our roles, then that would be part of our roles.
Yeah, we would go ahead under personnel, probably amend that to say appoint legal counsel, but that's by statute, just so you know. I mean, the county manager is not in a position by statute to hire, fire legal counsel. That's directly back to the county commission by statute. Regardless of who
I'm
they.
just trying to get us to, like I
Yeah,
said,
no, that's
so
fine.
whatever you want to do up there, wherever. So where would the amendment be put? Or we amend what was approved a year ago? Or
Yeah, we can just.
do we put it into this rules and
I think
responsibilities?
we'd put it probably in both. In personnel, I think, just to make it crystal clear is, appoint and terminate, county legal counsel. Right under the appointment and terminate county manager role.
And that person directly reports to the county court, not to the county
Or
manager.
the county board.
County board.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna add that additional line into this document.
Yes, that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
And then at the bottom of that personnel section, where we talk about serving a liaison role to a department, this is set up again, where there may be a situation where you've got challenges going on and it becomes an opportunity to bring in an elected to help work things out. That's what this is. We'd need to change, any reference in this whole document that talks about county court or court member to speak to the Board of Commissioners or commissioners. That would just need to be made so that we're all consistent with what you are now.
So when you get into personnel, you have redlined rotate attendance at department head meetings. That needs to be
Yeah, we
blacklined.
should ask.
That should not be redlined. That was what my
I thought
request.
we were never told not to do that.
It doesn't matter. It's down here now.
I'm just gonna-
And then on your may serve in a liaison role to a department if mutually agreed by the department head, county court member and county manager. Do we want to keep that in
I think so.
for your challenges? So we're going to
100%.
include all of that. And actually, the only thing we're going to get rid of is participate in 360-degree evaluation of department heads.
No, I think you'd want to have.
Well, we
Okay,
100% want.
so we're gonna keep everything in personnel black lined in there with the addition of participate in hiring of department heads and county commissioner administrative staff as desired.
Yeah, that
Okay.
and the appointment termination of legal counsel.
Okay,
And then I think it's also important that we add that there's a commissioner that the board can decide which one that's part of all major projects that works through that entire project, so we can understand better what is going on,
It's right.
what is
it's
going
right
on.
Here, we just take it
It's
out of
still-
red line.
But it was redlined is what I'm
Yes, so
saying.
we're gonna put, okay, so here we go on infrastructure, appoint court member liaison to oversee major capital projects. That isn't red line, that goes black.
But not just major capital projects. It needs to be major capital projects, major software projects, major, you know, when we have, the compensation study, when we're bringing in a new software to help with, HIRS, or are all these different things that these are huge projects. And I think it's super important that we have the knowledge when we're making these decisions. And then we can also answer questions that we get in the community more specifically and more, we can learn that information on our own and not just hear it from somebody else.
So how do we change the adjective?
I think that you're starting to get into an area to where you find it humorous,
Yes, Brian.
that you're underscoring what is more importantly, the manager's position and things to do, to work on that, bring back that information to the board as a whole and have discussions. Because when you start picking out different people that are going to go and do that, then that person is interjecting their opinions into it, or it is not necessarily the opinion of the board. And it gets to going in a wrong direction. And then there gets to be the difficulty between that person, especially if he is an alpha person, and whoever the manager is. And then there becomes this fight. And so I don't think that is, you know, from my personal opinion, is a good direction to go.
So I think where you have the ability safeguards there because you have that manager there. They are having a weekly meeting with all the commissioners. If that person is getting out of line or making decisions for the county court that are not consistent with what the county court believes, then the county court has the ability to go in and remove that person from that position, right?
And I think even without putting that in there, if that's what someone wants to do and the county manager and that person agree to that's what they want to do and the board agrees to it, then those type of things can happen. But why do you make a policy and a law and a rule when it doesn't necessarily have to be there? Because then you're making it that way when it's more open to choice.
Because I think a big part of this conversation today is helping this person, like you started off in the beginning, helping this person to understand what their roles are and what the interactions will be with elected officials. And I think the more clear you can be on the front end, the better it will be for this person. So they understand that that is something that will most likely happen. And so if you go down the line and you do then require that, they can't say, well, this is something that I had no idea was part of the equation. And so I think that helps them to understand that there will be interaction, and on large projects, there will be elected officials there. And maybe not every time, maybe you find something that nobody of us, not one of us has passion in, and that you can always go the other way. You can always be more, you can always be looser, but did you say you couldn't hear me? Oh, sorry. I thought you went like this. But if you are clear about it ahead of time, just the same thing as to the desire of the commissioner to be part of that, it's very good to allow that person to understand what that situation is.
Yeah, and I think it's something that you need to work for, because I think that that's going to be discerning with anyone that wants to come in as a manager's position, because I think you have the more potential for that person to be intimidated by a strong-willed person and be ran by that one-willed person rather than being under the supervision of the board. And so I don't believe this is a good move to make.
What anybody that comes into this situation is going to be in that situation in every aspect of their job. So I mean, I think this is just protection for the citizens, that they know that we are involved and engaged with these large projects that we're spending their tax dollars in. And it's not just something that somebody that's hired, it's somebody that they've elected and that they know is part of that process.
Yeah.
And I think it'll pay dividends into the future.
Yeah, I disagree.
I know. What do you say, Sue?
I don't know what to do with you two. I can't, I have no idea, so.
So just throw it
But
in.
it's not about us two.
I
It's
just.
about what's in the best interest for the county.
Yeah, and no, and I get that. And I just think appoint court member liaison to oversee major capital projects. I think that's fine.
Just change it to, from capital projects to just do major projects. I mean, how is
Okay.
it? You good with that?
Yeah, just take that word out. Are you good with that?
Go for it, both of you.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I could,
Okay, do you have a different adjective we can put in there? Just, like I say, we're just gonna move ahead.
Big instead of
this
major.
becomes I mean, the way it's phrased now
Yes.
is it becomes a thing that happens. If none of you want to be on a committee or on a project, and right now, as I look at all these projects, it's if there's going to be anybody off of you to be involved with the project, is do you bring value to that?
Yes,
If it's a trust issue, that's another thing. And that becomes a micromanagement thing. If you're showing up and wanting to show up at all these meetings, you've got staff that are working, you got 10 staff right now working on the HRIS system. An elected official showing up into that meeting with the staff of all different levels will change the entire workflow not in a good way. So I'm not sure why anyone would want to be in that situation. And this would suggest that that's what happens. The manager being aware of what these projects are, if the board, and again, this is to invite into make all of you on equal footing, is all of you should be aware of these. If you want more information, we can have Stephen or Crystal, who's overseeing the HRIS, or any major project report directly to the board more frequently so that you're all made aware of exactly what's going on. But when we get into a situation where they're showing up into the work environment, any one of the electeds, there's an automatic change in what happens workflow wise, and not necessarily in a good way would be my experience. So, I think, to this line, to answer your question, Susie, I would suggest something along the lines, if it's mutually beneficial and if there was a need and it was understood what that need was versus being on the project.
I mean, why?
I am worried that we are going to forget these and forget bringing money into this county, because quite right now, I am barely making it from committee to committee. And then, if you weigh us down too much, I do agree, the Justice Center is going on right now. Brian is the lead for
Yeah.
that. I totally agree. Brian knows, I've stayed out of it.
Yeah. we
He's
both
in
have
it,
these.
so that's a thing. If we decide to build a parking garage and you want to be the lead on, I agree with that, but I do agree also with Andy. Do I really want to get into this Crystal and Stevens thing? I don't have really any knowledge about it. I want them to come give me an overview. And then if I have, I go back to them, but I don't know that I want to be on the committee. I want just an overview reporting, and maybe on a project like that, we as commissioners, we request on the agenda to Sarah, we would like a report on this by the committee chair. And it's on our work session, or it's on our county court if we think the county wants to do it. I kind of think I really think we're okay. I think we're okay. And I think we've changed personnel. And I think that, yes, we need him to be on Capitol. And then I think we ask again, the committee chair to come. And then if we hear something that super disturbs us, we dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I just think you get so much more information by being part of some of the, and again, it may be there's projects that don't apply to different people, and I'm not trying to use this to force projects to go in a certain direction, because again, there's the ability for the entire court to make a decision, the entire commission to make a decision
Yeah.
and move forward. But I just don't see why we would be afraid of any person having information and the ability to be part of it. And I would argue that you see the same situation when you have a manager in the room and an elected official. There's any situation you have is going to change the dynamic. And to your point of the public meetings, is there's a lot of sausage that needs to be made. And I think sometimes it's nice to be able to have that conversation, and you still have that safeguard of having that manager at those meetings that can report back to the other two. I don't see what the drawback is. I don't see,
But then go to them.
yeah, no,
There's nobody that
but I'm
says you
saying, but
can't.
why not just say that the court, and maybe don't say appoint court liaison to oversee major projects, but just say court members are, I don't know how to say it less affirmatively, but just make sure it's clear that court members may be part of major projects and may be part of the more of the minutia than not. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's fine like it is. Can we move on? We can argue this for.
Yeah, I
hours.
kind of
It's up
agree.
again, you guys have two votes. You do whatever you want. I
The-
mean,
the-
I'm
the
just
only-
trying to be really clear and share my concerns.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only other thing is, and this is just, I don't want OSU to take over, but if they did, we would have to add OSU extension back on here on governing board of other things, but at this time, it isn't. But I just want to put a note out there that that's stuck in
You're
my
speaking
head.
of the intergovernmental relations.
Governing board of other districts, and you have redlined out OSU extension service
Oh,
district.
no, that's an ad.
And
Well, that's an ad. Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Then I'm good.
Red line is, that's underlined is. an
All
add
your
to the
ad. Okay.
original,
Perfect.
And then the scratch stuff is, where you've got to strike through like on administrative.
Okay.
change of manager.
Then,
is yours printed out in red color?
yeah,
Okay.
that's why I got it. Anyway,
Is
that's
there
what I
in
said, you
black?
have to add, and then you were going, well, it's already in there, and I'm thinking, well, no, it isn't, it's red, okay. Okay, just my color, what can I say?
You're on the same page.
So I agree that we just make a motion to accept the roles and responsibilities of county commissioners. And move
Second.
on.
Is that with the changes?
With changes as discussed, which we will add into personnel. I really think on the infrastructure and public works, I don't really think we need an addition there. I think that's, we go ahead, and if that's what we want to do, that's what we do. And I agree with Brian. I think it will intimidate yeah, I don't see anything on this document that scares me. We've added the personnel for you. I think we're good. Now that I actually get that the red is not mean it's gone, I'm really happy now.
Okay, so we've had a motion and a second, is that correct?
Yes, do you have any other comments you want to make?
I mean, I think there, yeah,
I want you to be on board with us. I'd like to see a 3-0 vote here, and I
just
think we're here.
think we're close. It's really important to be part of those projects. So, but that's fine. We can,
But
we've had 2-1 votes before, and I'm sure we'll have them again.
can we put major capital and infrastructure projects?
No, because I think there's a lot of things that happen here that are major projects that are not capital. I mean, I think there's software, and I think as we move into the future, there's a lot of things that we will be spending huge amounts of money on that we need elected officials to be part of.
So why doesn't this may serve in a liaison role to a department if mutually agreed by the department head, county court, court member, and county manager? Why doesn't that apply here then?
Well, then if it does, then just throw in there and major projects.
I think that what she's saying is it already applies.
I think it applies.
Well, just.
I think it's
Yeah.
saying what you want to say, because, so let's take this HR thing, you're a liaison role to a department, so you come and say, hey, I want to be part of this, and we all say, great. And the county manager even agrees, everybody agrees, so it's kind of right here under personnel, really. I think we've got this where you want it. I think it's just, again, words.
Sure.
I
Words
think
are
this,
super important because
I
why would,
agree,
why would people be pushing back against words?
but this
if they
takes,
weren't
this
concerned
takes that in there. This takes any of those projects in because you're gonna go in as a liaison.
So just throw in there that there'll be a liaison that's part of the county. If it's so, if it's just words, just throw it in there.
Where do you, what words and where do you
I would
want
like
to
to
throw?
have major projects that there'll be, a liaison from the county court can be part of major projects.
Kind of think that's what it says already.
So just say it. I mean, we're arguing both sides of the thing of saying, well, it doesn't matter if it says it because we can do it. Then if we can do it, just say it.
You don't feel that this sentence here doesn't say what you're saying. I think it says it, Seth. I think it's redundant to add anything else.
But then we just heard that if we have that ability, then it's going to turn off future people that are interested in being part of it.
But the county manager's in there, so you tell him, I want to go to this, and he gives you his opinion. And you either take it or you don't, because you're the boss. We're the ultimate. I think it says it right there, in my opinion.
So let's just say it then. I don't understand why
Give me
we
the
can't.
words that you want.
Yeah, just that court members may be part of, or may be part of major projects. Maybe part,
That's different. Again,
maybe,
what that's set up to do is not having any one of you just unilaterally say, I'm going to go do this. That's set up so that a project like HRIS, if you're going to be adding value and there's an agreed to framework for that to happen, for any one of you to be involved with that, you've got the board on board with that, the county manager on board with that. Everybody should be on board with that, not just the individual exercising the authority of that role to just say, well, I'm self-appointing myself into this.
no, I agree. I totally.
That's
agree.
why
I-
that
I-
says what
I
it
think
says.
it's there. I think it's there.
I'm good with it.
I think it's there.
I
I
made a
would like to
motion.
see you agree with this. I think this document takes care, and with the addition of what we put in, I think it takes care of it, and I think you've got it in the major capital here, and you've got it as a liaison role to the department. And that means all that you're gonna say to me is, hey, Susie, I really would like to be on board with this, and say it to Brian, and we say, oh, we're really excited for you, and you go and you're the liaison. Because again, we're up here.
Sure.
I think it says what you want. If I did think it said what you want, I would tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's get to we need to vote on the motion. I'm hoping that you agree, but I can't make you.
So just for the sake, again, for clarification for the minutes, what I think I just heard from the conversation today is that Commissioner Crawford would like to add to this document the phrase Board of Commissioner members may be involved in major projects. And what I think I heard was that Brian and Susan did not want to add that explicit language. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Susan?
I think that this document covers what Seth's concerns are. I really do, Seth. If I didn't think it, I totally agree with you. I totally get where you're coming from, but I think that this takes care of it. And I think that your addition up here in personnel was perfect.
All right. Any discussion?
No.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, real quick with discussion. I'll vote for it. There are things that I think could be improved, but I do agree that we need to move forward
And I think
To-
we're moving
to
forward.
find the right position and yeah.
I think we're a team. And if we get to a point where.
I will
we're
vote.
in-
My discussion is I'm think there are things we can improve in the job description. And I think we'll have time to do that as we move forward, but I will vote in favor of it.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's get on to committees, a tough one. So I am on that COAC that Jerry was on, which interferes with my health committee. So Patty Adair sits next to me there. And I have thought about asking Patty Adair left a half hour early. I left 25 minutes later because Sarah was kind enough to have my office up and running so I could slide into home base and Zoom it. But long story short, I am going to contact Patty Adair and see, since she's conflicted with me, maybe we can do something there. But if not, I will need someone to take that over because the Health Council meets in Prineville, Bend, and Redmond, and there just becomes I can't do it, basically, physically. So when you look at your committees, are there any other committees that
Are the committees in the folder?
you're right here. You're right here. And they're actually in this thing too, I think.
And so there kind of needs to be a little bit of clarification on some of these, like it has me down for the AOC Public Safety and Veteran Steering Committee. So I'm not on that AOC committee. I just attend their meetings and listen to them. As the same as with the AOC Legislative Committee, I'm not on AOC's Legislative Committee.
I think I am actually.
Okay. So then you need to, that needs.
Yeah,
to be
that's fine to
there.
move up to mine.
Okay. Are there any committees that you have a tough time? We need to participate. We need to be at the table. We need to have our hand out and get as much money as we can get. So are there any other committees that you got an awful lot on your plate? I don't know how you can do it. So do you have any other committees that you think you would like to push off to either Brian or I?
So he has on that one, the NHMP Steering Committee.
Yes.
I am on that
That's
one.
Brian.
Okay, and I'm not on it at all, right? I can
Right.
cross that out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on the OFRC, I'm on the thing. I go to the natural resources, actually, I go to our natural resources committee in the county. So I want to add that in there. And like I say, let's take a hard look at these. So COAC board is basically on you. But then you said that Jerry did that. So do you?
Yeah, that was, I mean, if you can change it around, I think it's good.
Okay, I'm gonna, like I said, if Patty and I both have a thing,
Yeah.
that's 2 counties. I'm gonna think that we can, but
Probably
I
change
haven't
it, yeah.
contacted her. What is PEDCO?
Prineville Economic Development,
Okay,
and I'd like to continue to do
okay,
that.
and then AOC, then Community Health Advisory Council. Should I
So
do
that's-
that?
But that's the one you're doing, right?
That is-
COHC.
Okay, so then cross that off
Yeah.
you. That's
I
on.
would like to continue to do the wolf
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
on that
Okay.
one.
Okay, and then the COAC board, I'm gonna figure that out. What is CREA, CREA?
That's, you do that, don't you, Brian?
I try to, but it's ran interference with some of the other meetings that I have, but
I'm
I
happy,
try to attend them and best.
I'm happy to pick it up if,
That's fine.
Okay, then what's CCEDC Advisory Board? What is that? Crook County Economic Development? Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Okay, Kiwanis is obvious. AOC, I'm not worried. What about the Rural Action? That's on your
That's NACO.
presidential appointment, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, and then the NHMP is Brian, so that's crossed off.
Hmm.
What about Crook County Wellness Team? What is that?
I'm happy to be part of that. I know I've seen those meetings, but
Okay,
um,
and then COIC Board, that's really me,
That's
isn't it?
you, yeah.
Okay, so cross that off, and then budget. And then Brian, we get to you, AOC, OAC, local
Yeah,
government.
And I'm not on those.
he's saying that he's not on those. He-
Yeah,
he
you're like
attends
me,
them.
if you
Yeah,
can, you watch it. Yeah,
exactly,
because
yeah.
it's Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about this local government?
So
advisory?
I have been on that one, but that is kind of always ran with the CO.
COIC.
Yeah, No,
COHC.
it goes with the
COHC.
Community Health Advisory Council. That is all because that's when I was on that. It's all kind of runs together.
So.
But I'm fine with being on that unless somebody else wants it.
Okay, well, we may have to do a switcheroo with COAC if I can't move it, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then core, we know you're in. And then what is CCCWPP? What does that mean?
That's
Community
wildfire protection.
Okay,
I'm on
sure on that.
that, and the natural hazard mitigation
Okay,
thing. I'm on that.
and what is OID?
That's not with the county, but that's Otsco Irrigation District.
Oh, okay, okay, and then AOC again. So then I'm on Kiwanis, I'm on COIC, there's AOC. I'm on the Central Oregon, I'm on the deforestation. And okay, and then I'm gonna try to get COAC changed, and if I can't, there's a $6.1 billion budget there, and that's a lot of money that we gotta be there at. But I will try to see if Patty and I can work something out. Perfect.
This list was pulled from what is showing currently on all three of your calendars.
Okay.
And so that's why it makes sense with
Got
some of those AOC ones. You're maybe attend if
Yeah,
you're there,
yeah.
type of a thing. But
Yeah.
We just went through everything that was listed on your current calendars,
Okay.
and that's where that list was developed from.
Okay, and I sent in an application to be on rural lands and public lands for that NACO. Because I figured I'm a rancher, I have a public land lease, and I believe I promoted agriculture. It doesn't mean I'm gonna get it, but I did put on for that.
And I'm also, for the record, I'm on that Deschutes Otsco Resource Advisory Committee, RAC.
There's a rack in the Health Council too. Don't ask me what it means, but I know there's a rack and a riff. I don't know what the rack and the riff are, but anyway. Okay. Okay, are we good with committees then?
Think so.
Okay. Well, I think we have to be out by 1. Or do we have anything else on the agenda then? Or we don't need any motion on that because that's a mutually agreed, isn't it? Oh, the okay, wait. Regional Housing Council pilot thing.
Oh, that's one that I'm on.
Are you on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
So put that one down.
okay. And just keep me because this was
Yeah.
Tony DeBone's thing
This
and
is
it was
the
out of
food.
COIC.
And the food deal, you want to make sure that if. that
Yeah,
comes
well,
up-
the food thing is gonna be through Health Council. So I'm on board there, so I'm not worried about that one. And then there was another one that I threw in here, the broadband thing, which obviously I know nothing about, but I can't even hardly run a computer. But yeah, the Oregon Broadband Advisory Council has a vacancy in the county representative seat. And OR whatever designates 1 seat representing the counties of this state. It's a 13-member council. Does anyone want to, we have to apply by May 1st. Does anyone or interested in Oregon broadband?
I met a guy recently that is really knowledgeable that said he'd be willing to help us, but I don't think that's a guarantee for us
No,
as
then you-
for us to receive, but I would be happy to be,
The-
could put my name in for it.
The thing about that is that cable that they're putting everywhere, tearing up the roads, is that
Separate.
broadband or
It's
what is that
different.
kind of cable?
There's different,
It's a
that's,
different,
that's a
okay.
fiber line.
Okay,
This is more finding opportunities to get those cables built locally.
okay, okay.
And I'm also on the tax exemption monthly meetings.
Oh, man, do I get any tax exemptions?
Oh, it's not quite that fun.
Well, darn, come on, fight for us here. Where's John? He never gives me any tax exemptions. He's mean to me. Maybe if you were kinder, you'd get donuts. Ah. Well, we'll see what we can do here. Okay. And use savings to be able to spend money. Okay, I think we're really good and I think we finished in time and are there any comments from any of you? Okay, we got one. How did I know it'd be you, Mike?
You got a sucker, didn't you?
I do, yeah.
Mike Irvin. I'm a little like you, Susie, and I don't know what to do with this. What did we accomplish today? I mean, we did a lot of arguments and back and forth, which I hear frequently at the different meetings that I attend. Somehow we need to be able to come to some decisions without the word fighting being inserted in these discussions. are we not all adults that can read what roles and responsibilities are and understand what those words mean without having to insert other things to be redundant? And as far as the board chair, I heard something about that in the beginning, but I don't remember why we're not talking about that. My suggestion would be that, as far as the board chair, it would be a rotating position on an annual basis. What's so difficult about that?
that's a Robert's rule. I totally agree with you there. And that was part of my thing, was that I felt that the chair needed to rotate.
Right.
And if you follow Robert's rules of order, the chair's the last to vote. I totally agree with you there. And I think that's the path that we're going on.
Okay.
I think that at the end of this year that we will appoint between the three of us a board chair. So I don't know, do we need that written out or?
That's in your order that you've already approved.
Okay, perfect. Then there we are.
Okay.
Which I,
The other thing is, and the interruption of discussion here, when you're trying to make a statement or Brian's trying, and you get interrupted all the time with an argument, that's what creates these kinds of things. And as far as roles and responsibilities, and I heard Andy speak to it just a little bit, but shouldn't there, or is there, I guess I should say, an organizational chart for the county? I mean, the commissioners are at the top and then it goes to the manager and so on. And we follow that org chart. What's so difficult about that? We had that in our business for 40 odd years and then it worked pretty well. Do we need to put in something about code of conduct? I would hope not, but it kind of seems like it, the way we can't get things done. So I don't know, but that's the perception. That's what we're seeing,
Okay.
From the board. And we need to get over calling it the court because it is no longer the court. It's the Board of Commissioners. And that should go in all documents and so on. But, yeah, it's just, I'm not even part of what you guys are doing and I'm frustrated by this.
I think today was a good move because I think we had a 3-0 vote. So I think that's moving towards the goal that you're looking for.
Yeah.
But as I found out in politics, one doesn't run, one takes baby steps. So just go out of here today that we all agreed.
Well, maybe
we're
we need to
moving
look across the
forward.
street and see how the city does it because they're doing pretty well with it.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
lawsuits.
Yes. So I think we're getting there. Just a few months.
Go ahead, Monty.
So that was a pretty negative comment against the city, and those are the people that we work with on a daily basis. If, I was always taught, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Monty Kurtz, Pal Butte. Just out of curiosity, is there a timeline when the compensation committee stuff is going to have your guys' stuff figured out?
That's for Andy to answer.
Yeah, thank you for that question. The compensation committee met yesterday just to get introductions and talk through the process. We needed this roles and responsibilities finished today, which will then be provided to Vance Jacobson, the compensation consultant, to formulate a recommendation back to the compensation committee. We are looking at the first meeting approximately 3 weeks from yesterday or today. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday type of thing that we would go ahead and post that. That'll be dealing with the compensation of the elected commissioners as well as the sheriff, clerk, assessor, and treasurer positions.
So the answer is you won't know before the election.
And,
Right.
and I have some thoughts on that, I think that this compensation committee was appointed by the Board of Commissioners. But I don't think it's appropriate to, outside of our appointment, to have an ongoing or interfere with their position in their job. And which I mean is I don't believe that any of us should have contact with them to duly influence our personal views on what they should be doing. or what that rate should be. And I think that that is not appropriate.
And you're you know that I'm the one that pushed for this, and I totally agree that we appointed a committee and we had our say there, and now whatever they say, I'm willing to go with. So I'm totally in agreement.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, one thing that the process will include the opportunity for public comment, including comment at, in those meetings from electeds as well as the public in general. So,
And it should. I mean, public comment should be there. It's your guys' tax dollars that are paying us, so you're not getting bang for your buck. That's not right.
yeah, we're very fortunate to, to have Bill Anderson involved with that. Bill comes with last year's experience together with several years with Deschutes County, in terms of their process. And so work through that yesterday again in terms of how we would maybe improve on what we did last year, which was different than what we had done in the years previous. And, we've got, I think, good conversation yesterday about the entire thing.
And I'm assuming that they're provided the chart that I saw that has all the counties of Oregon and all the different commissioners and the populations. And that's what drove me to push for this.
Right, yeah, they have that information. That was one piece that was provided. We have not received the information from Vance up until, late yesterday with respect to the compensation for, say, the other electeds. Wanting you guys to see that first before we, get that to them. They ask for some additional information from, in addition to that, for example, the additional types of services that are provided, say, in a county, say our county versus, the comparables like, say, Wasco County and so forth. I mean, examples, Crook County has an airport, other counties may not have an airport. Example, Deschutes County does not have an airport. But, we have a fairgrounds. Do other places have a fairgrounds? Is it a separate entity or is it part of the county? That type of dive in terms of level of complexity, FTE count, that type of thing is, few additional items they wanted beyond the population and the salary.
Perfect. Perfect.
One question. To follow up with that is once they make their decision, whatever that is, whether something goes up or down, does that happen immediately or does that happen at the end of the year, or how does that time frame affect?
Well, I'm the one that pushed for us to be full-time because I felt we should be, and our salaries haven't changed. Seth's hasn't changed. So I was just assuming that it came on the new term. Am I right in that understanding? Because I was told there's an actual statute that governs that, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, my read of the statute, and I'll have to take a closer look at it, doesn't define exactly when that necessarily takes effect. And there was quite a bit of discussion yesterday with the committee in terms of, when might this effect date be? Should we look to make it effective July 1? In the case of, the chair, is that at the end of his term? Then you run into, is it the same for Barney, where it's the end of his term? I mean, so there was a lot of discussion about that. And what we'll go back and look at is talk to a few other compensation committees in terms of what have they done. We'll talk, with Eric, see exactly what the appropriate approach, recommendation, suggestion back to the committee.
I'm willing to go with what the committee decides. If they're gonna decide your pay, they might as well decide the rest of it, but
Yeah,
I think
agree.
we're all in agreement with that, so just be fair.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Yeah, they're asking a lot of questions and
Good. I think that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
I think the only thing is that we've been asked to be full-time now. And that's effective as of that
right.
signing. So not that I want any more money because I've been working full-time since I've been here and haven't asked for a raise. But there does become probably some conflicts about demanding, working full-time and only receiving a half pay. That would interfere with BOLI or something. So we need to be aware of that, check into it.
Yes.
Like I say, whatever.
And if there needs to be a waiver that happy with what I have for now, then until the first of the year, then I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, and if it's.
But I want to make sure that we comply with the law.
Right, yeah, if they suggest that that includes a retroactive, to the date of your action,
Yeah.
that could be, something that you results. We'll, like I say, visit with, Eric and, work through all that together with, getting all the other information they've requested.
And I agree with Brian, it wasn't so much as that I wanted a pay raise, it was that I wanted honesty. And I do believe when we get a county manager on board and we get this streamlined down, I believe in a couple of years, we can reevaluate it. But I was concerned at the time because someone was running against me and I didn't want them to think they could work 3 days a week and come in and do 2 days a week. That isn't I wanted honesty. That's all I wanted. So I totally agree with you. I'll sign a waiver. I'm not looking for the money. I'm looking for the honesty.
All right,
Okay.
anything else?
No, I think we're pretty, oh, wait, one more.
Two things. I'm Barbara View. One, just a plug for the forum that's coming on. 3 out of 4 of you are in the room right now. But April 30th at Carrie Foster Hall, 6:30. I'm looking forward to that. Hope we have a good crowd. And the other thing is I respectfully agree to disagree with my friend Mike, is that sometimes processes are dirty and messy in order to get a better end result. And unfortunately, you three, my understanding, can't go behind closed doors and really hash things out. So you're hashing out, fine tuning it in front of us. And maybe that's messy and time consuming. But in the end, I think we have a much better result. So I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. No, and like I say, we had a 3-0 vote, so that was pretty good. That hashing out worked out.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Aye. Aye.